Well, we're back here, ladies and gentlemen. Mike has been so kind as to stick around for show number 2. We're going to do 2 half-hour specials here about Bax Built Construction. Mike Bax is the founder and owner who's been running this now for over 30 years, been in the industry for close to 50 plus years. Started when he was 3 years old. No, but he started young.
13.
and working with Dad. And now we really want to get into some of the nitty gritty about what goes on to having a house custom built. And some of the big mistakes. I love starting off with this question, but tell me, Mike, what is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're trying to get a custom home built?
Who they hire and pricing. It's all about the pricing.
Okay.
So there's 2 ways builders will price the home. One is called cost plus, and the other one is fixed cost. Fixed cost, pretty simple. You have a set of plans. You give a fixed cost, what it costs to build that home. There'll be a couple variables to that. This is where communication helps. We talk to people, what do they want out of their cabinetry? What color? Like if you want white, that's 15% more than it's stained. I'll create a budget for cabinetry, same thing like for flooring, but I'm gonna be darn close to what they want or a little bit higher. So when we make selections, they're covered, their budget's covered. If they choose to go outside the box, that's fine, but they can make that choice. Cost plus, which is a lot of builders do, they give you a spreadsheet of numbers and a builder fee.
Oh, wow.
There's numbers are all fungible. So we lost a house last year. We designed it. One of my competitors ended up getting the contract. They told me I was $70,000 high. Well, that is impossible. I take out all profit, all overhead, all everything. I still won't be $70,000 high. Well, a year and a half later, is right in the middle of the plague was going on. A year and a half later, they called me up and said, Mike, we're done. We're changing the locks. The builder's not communicating with us. He won't respond. He never shows up on the job. We're $100,000 over budget, and we're not even at the drywall stage.
Oh, wow.
I said, I'll be happy to work with you. I said, he goes, what do I need to do? He sent me over the documents. I got a spreadsheet of numbers. You know, it's 3 pages for an $800,000 house. Now, $70,000 high. I looked at the cost, what they figured for material versus what I had, because I store everything electronically. I still had it. I figured $85,000 more than they did in material and cost. So wait a minute. I'm $85,000. I figured $85,000 more in product than they did. They just wrote down numbers. And by contract, they're right. They're low on price, but then they extra them. You know, oh, sorry, lumber came in too high. You got to write a check. Oh, sorry, the plumber's costing too much. You got to write a check. We don't do that. If I misfigure lumber, if lumber went up in price, sorry, I got to write the check.
Okay.
And that's because if somebody's beating us by more than 10%, there's a big problem. Right. We just sold one. We were $50,000 higher. I went over it with the customer, and it was the same competitor that was bidding it. I went over with the customer and explained to them how it all works. They understood it, and everything is moving smooth. But that's what happens is that's when everybody starts getting mad in the end because you're way over budget, things are costing more, and that's how the builder gets out of any liabilities for anything.
Yeah, I can only imagine. It's easy for, it's a trade secret for a lot of businesses, trick of the trade, or just a trick, really. And that's to say, we'll lowball you here, knowing that when you actually get to where we're going to do things, we're going to be able to say, oh, well, you want to add this, and you want to add that, and we need to do more for this, and we're going to have to upgrade these things. And by the time they're done, it was $100,000 more, and you were 85. They were spending 15 grand more, it sounds like. Still probably didn't have everything.
Well, and I had the finished product, but he wasn't even finished. So it cost him another $200,000. I had to complete the job. We had to fix things. It was awful. But it cost them probably almost another $200,000 over my original bid.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And that was tough to take. And they gave some 2 glowing reviews on our
Okay.
site.
Well, check out those reviews. You can see up there, Mike's got a great list of reviews. I think I still got that screen. We talked about the reviews a little bit during the first show, but there they are on the screen for everybody to take a look there. Now you know why Mike gets such great reviews. He goes above and beyond. It can really save you some money by being honest and upfront with the pricing to begin with.
Well, somebody goes in and say it's whatever the price is, 300,000, 3 million, whatever. You have a budget, and you got to be, things have to be explained to you. Okay, would I any chance of going over? What things will cause it to go over? And there's certain things beyond our control, but we try to anticipate for those things. If you're building on somebody else's land, we have no control over the land, but just by looking at it, we can get a pretty good idea where you're going to land. So.
Well, yeah. So there's a lot of variables that go into
variables. Yeah.
Building a house custom. The land, property itself. What's the best way for somebody to secure the property? Is that something you can often help them with, or do they have that themselves? Or what's
I look at at least 1-2 lots a week for people. And sometimes I never hear from them again because I will tell them don't buy that. It's impossible to build on. If it's cheap for a reason. If your house is cheaper than somebody else, it's cheap for a reason. The hardest thing about custom homes is finding a piece of ground. Everybody thinks that's the easiest. It is the hardest. We recommend paying a little bit more for a decent piece of land. It's going to save you on the build cost.
There you go. So get the foundation of the house is going to be built in there. What are some of the issues people have with the actual property, the land itself? Could it be a matter of it's too rocky, it's too much of an incline, not big enough, not small enough? What are they?
All the above.
Okay.
All the above. If you're in Jefferson County topsoil is rock. You got to anticipate that. Chesterfield, same way. It's a little bit of rock, but a lot of it is hill. We used to call it Billy Goat Hill. When you're done, one leg shorter than the other because you're walking on a slant all day long.
All right, very hilly. Okay.
Yeah, those things cost a little bit more to build on. Right. So it's more cost effective if you can find a nicer lot that lays better, and your build cost to build your home be cheaper. So
okay,
you don't have all those expensive things, expensive foundation costs to build on a steep slope versus more flatter.
Okay. So these are all variables that you need to be aware of, because if you don't think about these things, you end up spending $15,000 and then maybe another $200,000 and building that's $1 million house, but that's still a lot of money for somebody.
Still a lot of money. I talked to somebody who has a very large modern home, very large, and he's fighting the builder over that right now. It's all about pricing extras, cost of material extras, things of this nature, which is really driving up the cost of his home, and he's not happy.
Yeah, well, none of us wants to have to spill an extra 100, 200, or even 15,000.
Yeah,
that's a
nothing.
lot of money.
Yeah,
and why can't we get those numbers straight out
in the beginning?
Right.
In the beginning, yeah.
And that's the way you do it.
Yeah, and we, like I said, that the communication that solves all those problems, and having some integrity solves those problems.
Integrity. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Integrity and communication, both of those. And describe for me, so people understand what you mean when you say integrity. Why is integrity so important to the construction?
It was bred into me. My father was a builder. He was a carpenter by trade. I watched him become a top salesman of a custom home building company. Didn't like what that guy was doing. That's a different story. He moved on, started his own business. Was doing good, still working out in the field, then he started growing and growing. And I watched one day, he got a phone call. And I was always the type of kid that would listen in on your parents' conversations. I want to see what's happening. And I listened to my dad on the phone. So this was in Chesterfield. We're building this house for this lady. She was a little different. The neighborhood didn't want her there. They literally did not want her. He got a phone call from a gentleman that lived in the development. They tried to offer him basically a bribe to shut down construction.
Wow.
And I'm a family of 5. Starting out your own business any extra money would help. And I watched him tear into that guy on the phone. He said, I don't run my business that way, and boom, boom, and slam them. They were offering him an ungodly amount of money to shut down the project.
Wow.
And that impressed me from that day forward. And just the way he had us work and do things beside the point, watch what that job was more important than that money.
Okay.
And
integral.
Yeah, it was very, very high integral. So that from that day forward, that's how I treat all my customers. If I say something, I'm going to do it. That's why communication is so important. I don't want you to misunderstand anything, because if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to back it up. I do what I say, for my benefit or not. If it costs me, it costs me. But
Well, that's the key to success as you do what you say, because when you put your name out there and you're saying this is what I'm going to do, and you come through. My mom and I talk periodically about business in the world, and she's been teaching kids for 60 years now almost. And oh my gosh, Mom, I didn't say how old you are, but she started when she was 4. But anyway, I mean the world we're in today is very complex, and you got to be adept and stay on top of it. But you make your life a lot easier just by doing what you say you're going to do.
That's very simple. Yeah,
it seems
very
like a simple concept, but make it easy, everybody. Do what you say. Another one there. Take note. Do what you say you're going to do, and life becomes a lot easier for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, talk about it a little bit. Tell me, how has technology affected and changed your business? Is there better ways to construct buildings now, or more detailed? Do you get the laser beams out? How do people? But I think you talk about communication has become better and easier.
Well, communication has become better. Technology has helped. It's easier to get a plan, blueprint, things of that nature. You said lasers. That's kind of funny. Our carpenters we use. We build your floors level, so we laser level all of our floors. And then, most guys don't. If the foundation's crooked, your house is crooked. We're one of the few, very few, not only, there are a few that will laser level your floor. What's wrong with your floor being level? I don't understand.
A little bit. It's one of those little bit things you do a little bit extra, and make it for a nice. I mean, you can feel houses. My parents have an old house in Fayette, Missouri, and some of the floors. This house is 150, almost 200 years old, and some of the floors are not completely level. But give them a little ride because they built that house. But these days, why wouldn't you have a floor?
Why wouldn't you? They just bend things around, blast it together with the nail gun. We laser level the floor, we string line all the walls, we plumb all the walls perfectly. It's wood has a mind of its own sometimes. We hand select all the studs in a home, anything crooked, boom, we toss it out. It doesn't take no longer to do it right than it does to do it wrong. Extra couple hours making your floor level makes your wall straighter. It's very simple. And carpentry in St. Louis is probably it's very hard to get good carpenters. Very, very hard.
Yeah, I was saying to me, I didn't realize that, but the floor is level, then the walls are straight. But you start having walls that are crooked, and you start having water leak in.
Yeah.
I mean, how many problems do you have? For now, you've got roofing problems. The whole house could become.
Well, if things are crooked, it's not bearing properly onto the support it's supposed to. You're going to have drywall cracking. If things aren't fastened correctly, you'll have more movement. So that creates more drywall issues, things of that nature. And why? I don't know. Yeah.
Do it right the first time, as we've talked about. But as a matter of, I start thinking about how many people might want to try to build a house themselves, and they can hire their own crew and electricians and plumbers. But then, how do you hold anybody accountable, because they start going, oh, well, I didn't tell them to do that. They put that piece in, and this was over, this was.
You're the boss at that point. You're the boss. Yeah. When I tell people, if you want, I wanted to do this myself. Well, think about it this way: the plumber is going to charge me less than he charges you, because you're an individual, you're a one-off, and he's got to work with a homeowner that maybe don't understand things. So we basically charge a 10% margin. That's it. So that plumber is going to charge you a heck of a lot more than 10%. So basically you get me for free then. And we manage the whole job. And
sure. And I'd say probably better than free, because if they charge more than that, then they'd be spending quite a bit more, and they still have a hodgepodge. Because how can you be an expert at building a house and oversee it, engineer, electrical, all the stuff that needs to be put into a house, plumbing, roofing, and then make sure everybody does their job right? It all works together. Yeah. That's why you need a general contractor.
It's why you need a general contractor that actually shows up on the job and oversees the job. Our vendors like working for us because I'm always there and always responsive to questions. There's always going to be questions. How do you want to do this? What should we do here? You know, you got to answer those questions. If you're not overseeing it personally, you know, if you have a day job, you ain't going to be overseeing what's happening.
So there it is,
out in the field.
Take note again, general contracting. If you get somebody who has the experience, who's done this many times before, take note, they can save you a lot of money. Yeah, if you talk about just the overhead, I can't imagine too many plumbers are going to do work for less than 10%, more like 20 or 30 or 40% margin. And then you add that up over time, coordinate all of that, get somebody who does it full time. This is what you do, and
this
all you do is build
what we do, and we think we provide some of the best service for that fee. You know, you actually get what you pay for. That's a new way to go. You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. We've heard that one before, haven't we, everybody?
Yeah.
Well, do take a look at some of the work that Mike and his crew have put together here. They've got a great, I'm going to put the website up here for everybody to take a look at it again, because they've got a great looking website that does show, and take a look at their project gallery. And inside of here, you can see just some of the work that they put together, because when you get work that looks this high of quality, we didn't get down to all the pictures here on the last show, so we'll show off a couple of these here. Give me a quick overview. That looks like your standard good old American house there. Tell me.
Yeah, it's kind of a French country. Okay. It's about a 2,100 square foot home.
You look at that and tell me, you worked on this one, you know.
Yeah, I know most of the houses. The dormers, this was done several years ago. The dormer, we started changing the way people do the dormers, making them a little wider, give it a little different look than the traditional skinny dormers, a little more character. Architecture makes it your home. So I tell people, give me $1,500 extra, I'll change the front of your house. Like the inside, we did 10-foot ceilings in the great room instead of a vaulted ceiling. You know, you just put a little bit of flair. We didn't wrap everything in metal. Like everything today is always wrapped in metal or plastic. Then you have a house that looks like metal or plastic.
All right.
So we incorporated some very low maintenance products. They make them now with technology that you don't have to paint, things of this nature that look like wood. That brings out the character in your home. You got to have a home with a little bit of character.
Yeah.
Especially things are expensive enough. I mean, things are very expensive these days. So you want your house to look like what you're paying for.
Oh yeah, great point, because you're going to put so much into a house like this. You want to make sure you get. This is where you're going to raise your kids and live and breathe and lay your head at night. So, great feedback there. Tell me what time though. When we talk about this, when you feel like you really helped a client, you had somebody who was in a tough situation, where you really helped somebody when you had to go a little bit above and beyond.
Well, one story I was thinking of. I built 3 homes for 3 family members. They had a tragedy in their life. The daughter was engaged. We finished her home, and she got married, and she invited us to the wedding. When me and my wife showed up, we only knew the people we built the houses for. She ran up to me and says, "Mike Bax, you owe me a dance." I said, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't in the deal." But that made me feel really good that we had that good of a relationship, that number one, they invited us to their wedding, and that, you know,
you don't get invited
to waste her time at her wedding.
I've not been invited to enough weddings that I can imagine.
I sidestepped the dance thing. I
can understand.
You know, we did a house for one of the vice presidents of Key Gas one day, and he called me up and said, "Michael, why should I have you build my home?" I said, "Well, Ralph, at the end of the day, I want you to invite me over for a pork steak and maybe a Budweiser." You know,
right.
He goes, "Is that all you got?" I go, "Well, yeah, that's all I can think of on the fly." And he hung up and called me back. He said, "Michael, don't make my wife unhappy." You got it, Ralph. You know, we want to be friends in the end, you know, and I enjoy that. That couple ended up coming to a couple company parties we had. We invited them. They came over. You know, we build a relationship.
Right.
And if they ever need anything, we're there to help them.
There you go. So making friends in our community, that's when we put the hat on here, and your clients become your friends. That's true with our show here, too. We like to do that. Tell me, was there a time, you mentioned in our notes here, there was a family that had a fire that caused the home to be destroyed. And you went and redesigned their home.
Yeah, so that was a few years ago. Their house burned down. We went in, raised the home, basically tore down, threw it away, worked off the existing foundation, redesigned the plan for them. It's their family home. They had a child with needs. So I felt real dear to my heart even then, helping them redesign their home. They had a beautiful view that they'd never captured. We put in some extra windows for them. They were an older couple at the time. He had a neat name. His name was Garland. His first name was Garland. To this day, I thought that was pretty cool. Gave him a good lot of windows to look at that view. And when they were done, they came up to me and said, Mike, this is better than our house was before. They're happier than what they had before. Wow. They were sad their family home burned down, but we made them happy in the end. And, you know, they enjoyed the rest of their life there.
Yeah, you can imagine somebody after this is where they spent many memories, and you get that rebuilt and something that actually made them happier.
You made them happier,
when it was finished, and what you put together for them. Well, then tell me, as important as the matter of this goes, what is the process? Somebody's really excited. They said, I want Bax built to build our house for us. What is the process somebody goes through?
Well, once we give you a good number and you accept that, you know, we work out, if you're getting a construction loan, we help you get a construction loan. We will refer you to some lenders, things of that nature. Even if you're not getting a construction loan, we advise working with a disbursement company for protections. That's lien protections and so forth. You always want that. Once all that's hammered out, we take it and run with it. So we get the permits, we do all that bureaucratic stuff, we get that rolling, and then we start having fun, picking out colors, selections. But we don't do it at one sitting. We take our time. We start with the outside colors, brick, stone, roof, siding, because that's the first thing going in. Once you get that under your belt, then we'll start maybe with cabinetry, you know, start having fun, just redesigning your kitchen, see if you want to make any changes, confirm the colors. You know, then once we get that, we go to flooring. So we have fun making all your selections, and we make it a good time. You know, so we'll go with you to all the showrooms that we deal with to help you with those selections if you want it, or we just set it up with our vendors and, you know, all those selections are made.
Okay. And as a matter of getting started, the process, somebody says they want to reach out to you, is easiest to do the request a quote right there on the website?
Request a quote, give us a call the old-fashioned way. Request a quote, just fill out some simple info online, and I'll respond to you relatively immediately.
There you go. Relatively immediately, get a hold of them, or the contact information here, and if you just want to give that phone call. All right, everybody. Well, that's how you get started. It's good to see you've got a process. It sounds like you've done this a few times, so that and it's not overwhelming, because I can imagine
we make it not overwhelming. So we try to take care of a lot of the burden off of people to make it an easy process and make it fun and exciting.
Yeah, I can only imagine it's a lot to take in. I remember I had to go pick out flooring, and then I pick out siding.
Yeah.
But you do those things separately because, that's a lot to say. Oh, I got to get this done, and I got to get that done. What else am I going to get here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's you don't want to have to make a quick snap decision too, because everything changes. If you think you want white cabinets today and we're just in the design phase, it's going to change. It always does. It always changes. You know, human nature, you know, it always changes. You see something, you tell me silver, you may like gold when you start seeing it in the showrooms, you know. But
gotcha.
But we move with the changes with the people too. So
easy to adapt and do so when you've got a construction company, a contractor who does the whole house for you.
Well, we spend the time with you, so we're not worried about if you're unsure. I have a customer right now. They changed their siding color 3 times, changed the bathtub about 4 times, and we're needing it now. But I'm working with them just to make sure they're going to be happy. They're just unsure. They kept they just weren't sure. So we got with them, finalized the color, and now they're tickled. But it took a little coaching.
Well, I can imagine that there is a lot that goes into these houses to get them done correctly, the right way the first time. And Bax Built will do this for you to make sure that is taken care of. There's a lot that goes into this. We ask everybody to talk a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your personal life, something that's important to you. And I've got up on the wall here. Everybody can take a look. I'll do a wide shot here. But Freya's Fight. Tell us who Freya is and what you're doing to help her.
Oh, boy. Well, Freya is actually my little granddaughter, my son's first daughter. I married my wife. She had 4 little girls. So we took them in, and they're all grown now and gone. And me and the wife had a boy. He just had his first child. Let's just say exactly 1 year ago. She's still in the hospital. We're talking about that family that house burned down. They had a child with needs, special needs. It's kind of dear to my heart, you know. And you don't see these children. Little Freya has a genetic condition called Haddad syndrome. Only about 1,500 people in the world have it. Picture this, if anybody had a child, you bring your child home, he's sleeping. Do you ever touch him or her to see if she's breathing? This is a nightmare my son's living. Freya goes to sleep, she dies. So you can see her picture. She has a tracheotomy. That's probably 8 weeks old, tracheotomy put in. With this evil Haddad syndrome, it affects your intestines also. She cannot pass any waste. So you can see she has what's called an ostomy bag also. With that evilness means she can't eat. So she's fed by IV through what's called a Broviac. So the kids were getting this information little by little as the doctors were trying to figure it out. It's bad enough that you know your poor child has an issue, but then every couple of weeks to be called with another issue, another issue, and another issue. Her latest issue, she'll never be able to smile. She has something now called Moebius syndrome, where the nerves in her mouth don't work. But they can get her sit up. She takes my hat off and hits me with it. She just turned 1 year old in the hospital. I nicknamed her Baby Balboa because we're kind of Rocky fans. But she has taken the hits and keeps moving forward. This is the toughest little creature I've ever seen in my life.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look there. Go to GoFundMe.com and search for Freya's Fight, Freyjas Fight, and you will find this. And hopefully you can make a little contribution there because she's battling right now. They've raised $31,942 on a goal of $150,000, and we'd like to help make that happen. And get a hold of our guys here, Mike Bax Built Construction, and help them build your house for your family. Giddy up.